Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Rise and Shine with Morning Moon. My name is Coach Lacey, and today we are talking about difficult people. My computer's being difficult, so what a great way to set us up for today. It is Wednesday. If you haven't already, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, ding that bell so that you're notified every time that we go live here at Morning Moon and Wellness with Watson. And if you haven't already anchored into your morning checklist, your daily checklist, the foundations in the Rise and Shine with Morning Moon group, be sure to do so. So today we are talking about difficult people. Oh my goodness. And, I am aware of the fact that I am sometimes difficult people, but I have a gift of dealing with difficult people. And for some reason, I am often in places with difficult people. And by difficult people, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what that even means. But you know the type of person, the nitpicky type, a like out the window type A, like nitpicky, in your stuff, difficult people, like people that just get under your skin. Not, or maybe they're not even a type A, maybe they're the complete opposite. Maybe they're that person that tests your patience completely. That the person that like talks too much or is disrespectful, or the person that complains constantly. I remember being in the workforce, and I would have these coworkers that would just complain incessantly. Oh my gosh. Or even friends or family who flake out when they need them most, or people who misunderstand you, or people who take your words and twist them. Those are the worst. Or people that nitpick and are on a power trip, you know. But that being said, I can hear some of the things in here that I'm listing that I do. I am the girl who talks too much. I am the person that can be a little bit controlling, especially if you ask my stepdaughter. I can be the annoying one. And the reality is at one point or another, we are all the difficult person in someone else's story. And that's the humbling truth that I am going to ask all of you to sit with today. And the second thing is difficult people need love too. Difficult people need love too. And sometimes when we are in close proximity to people, like when you're living with people, or you're working together, or you're building life together, you go to church together, you see each other every day, it becomes much easier to fixate on what is irritating about them, because you're exposed to them all the time. It's just how closeness works. Proximity magnifies imperfection. You could be the most loving, warm, peaceful, happy home and have the most meaningful job or the most loyal friendship. But the more time you spend with someone, the more those little quirks become super duper 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 annoying. And that's okay. It's human. It's just totally natural. But what we do and the choices that we make in those moments, that is what's important. Because we have to look at people through the eyes of a tender heart of mercy and recognize that difficult people, we're all difficult people. Difficult people is you. Difficult people is me. Difficult people are all around us. And difficult people are often hurting people. Most people are hurting in one way or another. They're carrying a backpack, a backpack. Some of those backpacks are heavier than others. Some of those backpacks have really, sharp rocks that are digging into your back. Um, Difficult people are just like we are difficult people, and so difficult people are hurting people. you know they're not planning to annoy you. They don't just wake up planning to be annoying. you know they might be battling an invisible illness, or grief, or insecurities, or trauma, or unmet expectation. Um and instead of being annoyed with people, because I find myself getting in spaces of being annoyed with people. And then once I am no longer exposed to those people every day, I'm sad because I miss those people, And so instead of being annoyed with people, pause, take a moment to be grateful for them, pray for them. Um, ask what's going on below the surface there inside of you and then inside of them to make them difficult. It's not always it's never a one-way street, and it's not always straightforward. So recognize that difficult people, you are difficult people, and difficult people are hurting people. And we don't just base love is a verb, it's not a feeling, it's a choice, it's an active decision we make every day. And when you have people in your life, especially when they're in close proximity, you know um you love them, and it's not like vibes, or loving people because they have mutual hobbies, or like getting along all the time. It's or not fighting. Even all the best couples fight. My husband and I have some passionate fights, but you know what, we also have passionate love. So it's duality. You don't go through life just happy and glittery all the time, but then again, you don't go through life angry all the time. So we have to just be rooted in love, and to be patient, and to be honest, and hold space for people, but also hold our boundaries with people. There's a delicate dance in love, is to hold boundaries and to hold space. You can have your alone time, but you can also make time for other people. And we need to look for, I have an exercise that I have my clients do called rosebud and thorns, and I have them look at the roses, the good things in their life, what they're grateful for, the thorns, the things that are difficult, and then the buds, things that are blooming. And so I encourage you all to look at people through those eyes. Every person has, everybody has those good things that we're grateful for. They have those thorns that are sharp and prickly, and you just don't want to deal with them. Some people have more thorns than others. I have people in my life that I love dearly, but they have more thorns than others. My brother is a thorny rose. I love him, but he is a thorny, thorny rose. Pick him up and he makes me bleed every time. And you just have to appreciate the bloom, and appreciate the beauty, and have gratitude for what they do bring to the table. No one's perfect. We all have our things. I have my things. You have your things. Some people are hypersensitive. I'm hypersensitive. I'm better now. And some people are free spirited, and don't want people to tell them what to do. Gosh, I'm describing myself here, but that annoys some people, right? And then other people are like type A doers, get her done. My mom is a type A person, get her done, tells it like it is, you know. And our personalities, woo, we collide because my mom is a type A and I'm a free spirit, and it doesn't make for a very easy relationship, but it doesn't make it wrong. It just makes us different. And so recognize the people in your life and the places where you could just navigate those thorns, just navigate, just be careful when you pick them up. And we all bring something different. We all bring something different to the table. And our experiences in life shape how we react to everything. And that shapes our triggers to things, and our capacity to deeply connect, and to really reflect and help others through similar situations. Some of us are really quick to speak and slow to trust. Some of us need structure, and other people crave spontaneity. If we could just stop seeing the differences as problems and start seeing them as perspectives to be embraced, and reflect upon, and maybe take little bits for ourselves, we can create some space for grace. I mean, like for, example, everybody's different. I gave a great example of my mom and I, and consequently my husband and I. I'm always late, he's always early, and it makes it that we're right on time. We're generally right on time because he always wants to be early and I'm always late. So it's a balance, it's a fine dance. Find those things that you compliment and find those things that other people compliment for you, and you know work together. And some people are triggering. Like I mentioned before, my brother, he's a thorny, if you're watching this, I love you. He's a thorny rose, but he's got sharp words, and his mouth is very difficult to deal with, and he triggers people, and he triggers things inside us that haven't healed, and he triggers things inside that haven't healed, and he hasn't healed, from his own stuff. And sometimes because they're not healing, they're spewing their stuff on you, and then we have a negative reaction, and it's bad. So when someone triggers you or they hurt you, recognize it's not them, it's what they're representing, and go deeper into that. Journal about it, journal what's and if you don't journal, just think about what it is they're bringing up inside you and why that is rubbing you the wrong way, and what's true. Ask yourself the questions. Again, yesterday I referenced the questions quite often from Byron Katie. Is it true? Are you absolutely certain that this is true? And if this is true, what does it mean? And who would I be without that thought? The same goes when dealing with people, right? So we don't get to control them, but we get to choose how we show up in the world, and how we respond, and how we react, and how we continue to respond and react. Sometimes we are called to speak up. When there are injustices in the world, we are called to speak, and we should not be silent. That's why I've been so vocal about the topics I've been vocal about, because these are topics that you should never be silent about. But other times, you need to be silent. Sometimes I just need to shut up, truly. There's been many times in my life with conflict with other people where I just need to shut up, stay silent. So sometimes you need to speak up, sometimes you need to stay silent, and sometimes, we need to stay and fight, and sometimes we need to walk away towards peace. We just have to have discernment enough to choose, and things like the questions and looking for the rosebuds and thorns, and really thinking in a critical manner about how we deal with people, and a tender heart of mercy, and seeing everyone as though they are 5 years old. It doesn't justify their actions. It doesn't justify, their hurts, but it gives you peace. So rather than get all twisted up about what someone has said or what they've done, pray for them. Be thankful for their part in your story, and let it go. If you have to disconnect for a moment, disconnect. Hold the boundary. But cutting people off completely unless they're physically abusing you, or continually verbally abusing, you know, um, that is just not always the solution. And I'm not saying that you need to tolerate abuse or allow toxic people to stay in your life unchecked. You must check people. There used to be a process of checking people. And what that looks like now, we have to navigate with grace, because, it's not the Wild West, but there is a way of checking people. You can check people. There's a higher road. You know, our culture glorifies cutting people off. I challenge you, instead of canceling people, you are committed to understanding them. Not everyone deserves full access to you, for absolutely, but most people deserve a little more grace than what your ego is willing to give. So reflect on this. Who irritates you, and why? Why do they irritate you? What is it about this person that irritates you? Is it something that you are lacking within yourself? Is it something they've pointed out that you may be feeling anxious about? Is it something that they're doing that is truly not good, is truly bad, is truly nefarious? We have to have discernment between the nefarious and the non-nefarious. What is evil? And that, my friends, evil is what we stand up against and cut people off for. We cut people off for evil. We don't cut people off for being annoying or being difficult or not doing what we want or whatever, even in situations of, even in situations where you are having gigantic blowups with people that some people wouldn't even understand. There's a grace in forgiveness, and there is a grace in seeing people for where they truly are and seeing their heart and their humanity. And if you have the ability to do that, God bless you, because it's not even difficult. It's something that has been given to you through the grace of God, because I have that inside me. I can see that in people. I give people, people often wonder why I give unlimited chances. And it's because they see the humanity in people. Unless I think someone is truly evil, I will give them the chance. But if they're evil, it's done. We're done. I just pray for them. So reflect on these things. Who irritates you and why? Is it really them, or is it something about you? Well, let's be honest here. Let's be honest with ourselves a little bit, And can you be honest? And can you be honest with other people without being too harsh? I have to work on that, you know. So our ability to walk in love, even with difficult people, it's a direct reflection of our own grace and spiritual maturity. And sometimes we have people that come into our life that teach us these lessons so that it's not to change them, but to change us, and change how we show up in the world. So I challenge you not to give up on people so quickly and not label them or cancel them or, call them annoying or selfish or too much because they don't match your pace or your personality. Get curious instead of being critical about people, and anchor in to your foundations so that you can hold things that are difficult with grace. Ask yourself what each of these difficult moments can teach you. What can you learn from these moments? Because how we love, how we show up for, and how we love and how we lean into those hard to love people and moments reveals our character more than anything else. And I want, listen, I'm not up here preaching at you from a pedestal. I have had moments where I have reacted very badly. And I have been very naughty and very unkind and rude and hateful. My mouth is a dumpster fire. And I have been a bitch, for a lack of a better word. And I know what it's like to be at the receiving end, though, of that. So I know what it is to be the bitch, and know what it is to be the one bitched at. And so, and I know what it is to be given the silent treatment. And I know what it is to be the one receiving the silent treatment or cut off. I know what it feels like to be cut off. But praise be to God, those moments have passed for most of those things. And it's, nothing feels more powerful than being redeemed in grace and having redemption. So as you go about life today, be sure to anchor in to your foundations, and I encourage you to be the person who responds differently, who shows up differently, who shows up fully, who shows peace, who shows up with peace, and you chooses peace over being petty, And I encourage you to keep showing up for the people that matter, even when it's hard. Call them, text them, take them to lunch, go shopping, go for a walk, FaceTime, whatever. Just tell them, send a text, tell them you love them, do something. Because that's how we change the world, is even when we don't want to, we show up anyways. It only takes one moment of patience make a difference. So keep shining, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow.